half a thing of taco vodka, half a red juice. Everything will go smooth that night.
Or you could be sophisticated like me, a little club soda, a little sugar-free Red Bull, a little Tito's, squirt of lime. I think Emily likes that one better. She's giving me the pew, 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 pew.
You're talking about malemimals. And you're talking about lime and cutting things and all that.
No, you just get the little lime squirter.
Only if it's an artesian lime.
Did you say the lime squirter?
Yeah, a little lime squirter.
Oh, we take a break. We come back. It's one more round. Do we even have one more round? Hey, let's give away some Hawks tickets when we get back from the break. We'll do it after the break. We'll let Rick come up with the questions, all that good stuff. We are completely off the rails at 1:14.
Mr. Rick, Dick Tracy, Kamala. We're in the hell out of folks.
And now, Sports Radio 92.9 The Game, Haviland Express Loop Sports Flash. For specials and more, go to HavilandSportsFlash.com.
I'm Jarrett Smith. The Sports Flash brought to you by CareSource. Starting with football, the Atlanta Falcons wrapped up mini-camp this afternoon. While Julio Jones was absent, head coach Dan Quinn said this mini-camp gave the defense a chance to sharpen up their fundamentals.
At this time of year, we have to really make an emphasis where the offense gets the catch. But, man, can you get a lot of work done from the emphasis, the fundamentals, the execution. You may not go and compete for the ball, so to speak, but to have a chance to really detail and execute the route out, put yourself in the right coverage at the time, that's been a big emphasis for us on both sides of the ball.
Moving over to baseball, Braves back on the diamond as they look to get revenge on a San Diego club that took 2 out of 3 games from them on the West Coast last week. Atlanta's earned themselves a 1-game lead in the division after sweeping the 2-game series against the Mets earlier in the week. Anibal Sanchez takes the mound tonight. First pitch is set for 7:35. Moving over to soccer, Atlanta United picked up their 5th win of the season on the road. A 2-0 victory over the Columbus Crew. Joseph Martinez bagged his league-leading 14th goal of the season, and the Five Stripes back in action next Wednesday when they welcome Chicago to town for the U.S. Open Cup. Kickoff is set for 7:35. Finally, U.S. Open underway this afternoon. Ian Poulter tied for an early lead. Tiger Woods set the tee off at 147. CareSource, a Georgia Medicaid provider that believes in the power of more. That's why choosing CareSource provides you with Medicaid and more. Discover the more that matters to you at caresource.com/Georgia. Keeping you up to date on Atlanta sports as it happens, I'm Jarrett Smith from the Kia Studios on your humble Wednesday's Atlanta United match against Chicago. Kickoff at 7:30. Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
Atlanta Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
Introducing Target Drive Up, the world's fastest Target run. Choose Drive Up when you order in the Target app. Follow a few easy steps and then drive up. And they'll bring your order right out. All squeezed out of toothpaste? Drive up. Super last minute birthday gift? Drive up. Down to the final diaper? Drive up. Raining and you don't have an umbrella? Drive up. Get what you need and keep on going to whatever's next on your list. Target Drive Up. Give it a go in the Target app. Available at select locations.
It's getting late, but we're far from done. Let's order up one more round with Rick and John.
Great idea, big voice guy. It is Rick, Dick Tracy, Kamala, and John, old school player Michaels here in the Kia Studios. It is nickname Palooza as we bring you one more round.
That's what I teased. I know I teased something. We got to give away this Hawks draft pack that includes a $100 gift card to Stats, 2 tickets to the Hawks home opener, the Atlanta Hawks swag bag, as you can join the Hawks on Thursday, June the 21st at 6:30 at Stats for the 2018 NBA fan draft viewing party. It is free, but tickets are required to go to Hawks.com/fan draft. It'll be attended by the cheerleaders, flight crew, Harry the Hawk, and much more. Michael Porter will not be the pick at number 3 that we can presume, but you've got a trivia question. Caller number 1 with the correct answer at 404-741-0929 to win this fan draft pack.
So here we go. And by the way, Hawks fans, we are going to give you a lot of this segment. I want to talk with John. Bagley and Bamba are in Atlanta today working out for our Hawks. But Hawks fans, and I'm one of them, I invite you to cringe as I ask you this trivia question. Instead of taking Chris Paul or Darren Williams in the 2006 NBA draft, the Hawks selected who? Instead of taking Chris Paul or Darren Williams in 2006, our Hawks selected who? Call the preacher man.
404-741-0929. Just think of, never mind. I was going to give an example, but I don't want to give it away. Got a call right now to try to win.
He had a very famous nickname, an even famouser ex-wife. That's all I can give him.
I don't remember his ex-wife.
Pretty famous. That's all I can say. I don't want to give more away. Have you heard of John? Okay, I tried to like mouth it so that he could. Oh God. Anyway, okay, should we talk sports?
Hold on, I'm gonna write down.
Yeah. No, you got it. You got it.
That's not who they took over Chris Paul and Darren Williams.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I'm writing it down.
All right, we may need to Preacher Man. Can you look that up? 2006. What actually was the case? I swear
that was a 2000.
I was sober and here in the Kia Studios and looking at the Hawks draft history when I came up with this question. It's possible I made a mistake. I am not perfect. I am not a robot. I'm a human being.
Chris Paul was drafted in 2005 in the NBA draft. And I know exactly. I was working a Hawks draft show that night. And it was the second overall pick.
All right, so I suck. Let's change that. So we can still keep the question,
same
right?
Question.
All right, so
same question. I gave Paul the right answer.
Instead of taking Chris Paul or Darren Williams, whenever the hell they were drafted, who did the Hawks take? That is the bottom line. But that was a terrible, terrible, terrible decision by Billy Knight.
Oh, awful.
Billy Knight. Come on.
Set the franchise back like 10 years.
5 years at least. You're better than that, Billy Knight.
So who would be?
Was he?
He wasn't. Let me ask you this. Who would be the equivalent this year of you can't pass this guy up at number 3? So let's just say that
there isn't
Chris
a guy.
Paul or Darren Williams?
There isn't a guy. There's not a guy.
Okay.
There's not a guy at number 3. Great question, John. There's not a guy at number 3 where you say, if you don't pick him, you're an idiot. Because to me, if the Suns don't take DeAndre Ayton at number 1, they're idiots. And they're going to take DeAndre Ayton. From that point on, there's rich talent, but it's beauty in the eye of the beholder. Do you trust that Doncic's game is going to come to America, Knox Bardeen, and flourish and translate? Do you trust that Marvin Bagley has the offensive expanse in his game to match the leaping ability, the athleticism, the rebounding? Do you trust Mo Bamba to be the next Joel Embiid? Do you trust Michael Porter Jr.'s back? Do you trust Jaren Jackson Jr., who completely faded at the end on Tom Izzo, to come to the NBA and get it done? Do you trust Wendell Carter to be the next Al Horford, right? There's question marks. There's negatives and positives on every single guy, to me, except DeAndre Ayton. To me, he is a premium, bona fide number 1 overall pick, a la Allen Iverson, Tim Duncan, LeBron James. I put him more in that ilk than just a guy.
I look at all of them, and I even think with DeAndre Ayton, there's still questions. I know Buffalo was a game in the NCAA tournament, and he didn't show up all that well, neither did Arizona at all. And that was a scenario where they got down and they mailed it in.
Here's the deal, though. You can't, and I've heard this before, and it's driving me crazy. You can't blame a big man for not getting the ball. Does that make sense to anybody?
No, I get that.
You can't blame a big man for not getting the ball. He goes in the post. They have to pass him the ball. When they don't pass him the ball, he doesn't get the ball and can't impact the win or loss for his team. So I don't want to hear that. I really don't. I think that's a garbage take. I mean, you look at the Pac-12 championship game. They gave him the ball. He feasted and beasted, and they won the Pac-12 championship. Not that it mattered that much. The Pac-12 was lousy, but you get my point. They didn't feed him the rock against Buffalo, and they got pounded. So I don't think that's a knock on DeAndre Ayton.
That's the knock that I've heard on him. And it's a lot of, that's the only time people watched Arizona. I know you watched a lot of games. I watched a lot of games.
Bingo.
I'm not sure, unless you have an Anthony Davis type big, what big comes in and changes your team.
Well, he's not going to come in and change Phoenix because they're so lousy. It's going to take a while, but he is going to eventually be an all-star player. He compares favorably. I just talked to Brendan Haywood last week doing the NBA Finals film room for NBA TV. It's one thing for me to tell you how much I love DeAndre Ayton and my talent evaluation and all this. And it's acute and it's valid. But Brendan Haywood has a mountain of money to stand on and a ring from being a center, 7'1" in the NBA for about 13 years. As much as my opinion matters, and certainly it does, his means more. He loves DeAndre Ayton. Compares him favorably to David Robinson. Kevin McHale. Y'all heard of Kevin McHale? Crazy Emily, you heard of Kevin McHale? Okay, she's shaking her head, but that's okay.
You've never heard of Kevin McHale?
Yeah, she's a student at Ole Miss, so yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Kevin McHale.
It's Kevin McHale. You might want to YouTube him. But the best...
Who was the nutty guy from Ole Miss a couple of years ago? Remember the nutty basketball player that was like flipping people off? Oh, what was it?
Henderson.
Yeah.
Marshall Henderson.
Yeah, Marshall. Have you heard of him? You've
she
heard
said,
of Marshall
yeah.
Henderson. Have you never heard of Kevin McHale?
That's right. Put it on a tweet. It's headline news. But Kevin McHale told me he loves DeAndre Ayton. Completely sold. And Kevin McHale has been a GM, a president, a head coach, a Hall of Fame player. Again, their opinions matter more than me, and they are in love with DeAndre Ayton, and so am I.
Jaren Jackson's a guy that's interesting. He's a guy who hit almost 40% from downtown in the college game. 80 of 133 from the foul line. Not great, but not horrible. That's what, about 70%. Somewhere right in there. That'll work. You'd like it to be a little bit higher, but as a big, you don't mind that. 6'11" with a 7'5" wingspan. If we believe what could happen, just say, Ayton's going 1. Say 2 becomes Marvin Bagley.
Right.
Where do you go from there? Hawks have worked out Trae Young. They've worked out Mo Bamba, as you're talking about. They've worked out Marvin Bagley. He may be gone. Doncic is a guy they've talked to. Where do you go if Bagley's gone at 2 and Ayton's gone at 1?
Another great question, and I actually think that that's going to be the formula. I think that I've heard that the Kings are what's the right word here?
Leaning?
They're leaning against Luka Doncic.
Not American enough.
Yeah, they got to move him around a little bit, I guess. But I do think that Bagley, Sacramento's looking at Porter, Bagley, and Doncic. I've heard that they're kind of wishy-washy on Doncic. We also heard, and let me tell you this again, Porter has had to cancel 2 straight pro days because of a hip injury. We don't know if it's related to the back surgery, but if it was an ankle, it's not related to the back surgery. It's a hip. That might be a problem. So they've got those 3 guys in their sights. You're not going to take Porter at 2 if he's got a huge medical red flag. And it doesn't sound like they want to take Doncic. So I think they're going to take Marvin Bagley. And to your point, so now here we are, the Atlanta Hawks, at number 3, who do we take? At that point, and I got to give Deshaun Tate a shout out. He sent me some stats. I didn't know this. We know about the unbelievable dream season that Doncic had over there. EuroLeague MVP, wins the EuroLeague championship, blah, blah, blah. Just amazing. But, John, that was his first year averaging double figures over there. Didn't know that.
Wow.
Thank you, Deshaun, for that bit of intel. Also, he shot around 30% on threes last year with a shorter than the NBA international line.
Okay.
Now, it's a little bit longer than college, but it's shorter than the NBA, and he's about a 30% shooter on that. And I looked at it. At about 5 attempts per game, John. That's not good.
No.
He's got the handle. He's got the vision. He's got all this stuff. But I'm kind of sort of softening on Luka Doncic as well. I'm doing my updated mock draft right now. I'm thinking about sliding Doncic down to like Chicago at 7, Orlando at 6. I don't think he's right now feeling like maybe 5 to Dallas, but I don't think Doncic is going to be a top 3 player. And John, I don't want our Hawks to take him.
Yeah, and who knows if they will or not. I think he's one of the guys that would be hard to sell in this town at number 3. I think there's Hawks fans that are looking go to, I really want Luka Doncic to be the guy. I think Trae Young's going to be hard to sell at number 3. I know he was exciting at Oklahoma. That's the way of the NBA, a slick shooting point guard who can knock him down from downtown. But can you sell that at number 3? You draft him at 7 or 8, Hawks fans go, cool, Trae Young, we're all in. At number 3, especially if you pass on Marvin Bagley, I think it's going to be really tough to sell for the Hawks.
I don't think we're going to pass on Bagley, but to your point, I think Bagley's going to go 2 to Sacramento now. I would not take the guys we did, Doncic and Porter, at 3. What I would do, I would either take Mo Bamba or I would trade back and I would take the point guard. So I've heard that the Hawks love Trae Young. Okay, but you can't take Trae Young at 3. And by the way, I saw some video of the Jaren Jackson workout for the Hawks and also watched him last year with Michigan State. Johnny's got a weird release on his jump shot. He kind of shot puts it. He kind of pushes it. You know what I mean? He doesn't gooseneck it. Like his middle finger doesn't sort of come down and almost hit his wrist. Okay, Mo Bamba does. But Jaren Jackson kind of pushes it where his hand is kind of flat after the ball releases. I don't like that. That tells me that's going to be a really inconsistent shot. Whereas if you're goosenecking that thing and ripping it and just spinning that thing every time, those are the good shooters, and you know that.
Hey, this hour of the program brought to you by Inspire Medical Systems. We have got a fun slice of life that started with our Vision Computers Twitter poll a little while ago. By the way, who won the question, Paul? Who was our winner right there? Marquise from Atlanta picked up the Hawks fan pack. He'll get all that good stuff that we talked about. The correct answer was Marvin Williams.
And I confused Marvin with the landlord, Sheldon Williams, who, of course, used to be married to Candace Parker.
That's why when you said famous wife, I was like, who's Marvin Williams married to?
My bad. That was weird. But you know what's not bad? Us being at Twin Peaks in Buckhead tomorrow. In fact, it rocks. So come with us 10 to 2. You're going to get some great food. You can have a beer at lunch. And the women are fabulous, man. They're great servers. They're easy on the eye. So tomorrow, Rick and John, 10 to 2, Twin Peaks in Buckhead.
Slice of Life coming up next. We were arguing about sunglasses. We ask you, what's the range you pay for your sunglasses? We've got the 150 and up crowd here. We've got the Gucci crowd. And then you've got Mark and I. We talk about that next on Sports Radio 92.9.
And now, Sports Radio 92.9 The Game, Haviland Express Loop Sports Flash. For specials and more, go to HavilandSportsFlash.com.
I'm Jared Smith. The Sports Flash brought to you by KFC. Starting in baseball, the Atlanta Braves looking to continue their productive homestand. They welcome the San Diego Padres to town for a 4-game series. Wednesday saw Atlanta lean on Mike Soroka through 6 shutout innings in his return from the disabled list on the way to his second win of the season, while Freddie Freeman built on his MVP caliber campaign, driving in both runs in that 2-0 victory. Anibal Sanchez taking the ball for Atlanta tonight. He'll be opposed by Tyson Ross. First pitch is set for 7:35. Moving to soccer, Atlanta United moved 5 points clear of NYC atop the Eastern Conference with a 2-0 victory over the Columbus Crew Wednesday. Joseph Martinez picked up his 14th goal of the season before leaving at halftime with a facial injury. Atlanta will have a week off now to recover before they take on Chicago in the U.S. Open Cup next Wednesday night. And finally in football, Falcons wrapped up 3 days of minicamp Thursday afternoon. Head coach Dan Quinn said he's been happy with the work of many of the younger players, but especially second-year lineman Tack McKinley.
Tack has set himself up to be a really excellent pass rusher. He has toughness, he's got speed, and now from a technique standpoint, he really feels equipped to do it. So I love the attitude. He certainly fits in with the style and swagger that we want to play.
This summer, get a KFC Extra Crispy $20 fill-up that feeds a family of 4 to 8 pieces of Extra Crispy chicken plus the fixins. Get KFC delivered with Grubhub. Pricing and participation may vary. Tax and substitutions extra. Keeping you up to date on Atlanta sports as it happens, I'm Jarrett Smith from the Kia Studios on your home of Wednesday's Atlanta United match against Chicago. Kickoff at 7:30. Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
Atlanta Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
So what's your go-to drink?
Sounds like you guys fancy yourself drinkers, huh?
When was your last fist fight?
I'm gonna kick your...
Who really wears the pants in the family?
Nah.
Rick and John prove adulting is tough.
It's worse than we thought.
The Slice of Life on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
We are back in the Kia Studios, ladies and gentlemen. And do you wear your sunglasses at night? Do you pay a lot for your sunglasses? Or are you a cheapskate who assumes he is going to sit his fat butt on said shades and break them? And so you buy $10 shades. It is our Slice of Life, brought to you by Shane Company. Blow your mind, not your budget. With an engagement ring from Shane Co., your friend in the jewelry business. This one kind of popped up like a mushroom out of dirt.
Yeah, I don't know who were we talking about with sunglasses earlier? Oh, Barrett Salee. That's right. Barrett was talking about sunglasses, and it got us to talking and got us a Vision Computers Twitter poll. Vision Computers, where if you need help with tech support, it's less than 15 seconds away. It's up at Rick and John at 929.
Here's a shock. It's a show divided. So my bougie friends over here, the one in front of me and the one to my left.
Guilty as charged.
Tricky Ricky and Preacher Man are not afraid to spend $150 or more on sunglasses.
That's about my limit, by the way.
Yeah, mine too.
I'm not trying to go north of $150.
Johnny Michaels and MO refuse to drop more than $15 on a pair of sunglasses because we know we're going to lose them, break them, or drop them. So where do you stand, fans? And apparently all you guys out there, listeners, y'all are bougie as well. Spend the money, 46%, and that's leading the votes right now. $15 tops. I won't spend more than that because I'm going to lose them. 32%. Or we do have some people that said, I will spend a little bit, but no more than $50. And that's 22% of the votes.
Like I said, I have spent up to about 40 on a pair of glasses once. Ooh. That's it. That's all I need. Dude, they're sunglasses. I don't wear them, but when I go to the beach or when I'm driving in my car. That means they sit in the little thing up on the roof. They're hot.
Use that?
Yeah, why not? Because that way I don't forget them. Because if not, if I go, they're in the house, I'm going to remember them, I'll forget them. I just leave them in there.
Yeah, I do too.
Mine don't really fit in there, so I can't put them in there.
What do you got, the Jackie Onassis?
No, I'm not like you. You with those big old round glasses that you claimed were men's.
They are men's. Men's Nike sunglasses.
How big are your shades? So you can't fit it in the little compartment above the
Well, they'll
dashboard.
fit, but I don't like the way they fit because it's a little.
You don't want your nice shades to
It's a little stiff to get them in there.
No, it's not a little stiff. It's a little tight quarter, so to speak. I don't need them jacked up or broken.
Oh, my
Jonathan
goodness.
Nichols tweets at us, I've lost every pair of $15 sunglasses I've ever bought, but I have two Costas, and I've had both pair for 2 years now. Drew said, I have spent $180 on Oakleys and have good God, $200 pair of Costas. Spend the money, fools.
What the hell are Costas?
Costas. See? I don't know, because
Emily's in here trying to correct him.
You pinky out. I don't know what it is, because I'm shopping at Kohl's and you're down in Buckhead.
The only Costa I know was Frank Costa, and he lost us a national championship because he couldn't hit a wide receiver wide open down the middle of the field.
I'm pulling up the Costa right now.
Johnny Greer for the win.
Dope
I'm still rocking the free ones I got from the Garth Brooks concert at the Benz.
I've got a pair of the R.S. Andrews ones that we just got at the R.S. Andrews. They sponsor the college football cheat sheet. I got a pair of those at our celebrity golf tournament a week ago. Guess who's getting them? Me. Who's going to wear them? Me. I'll rock the hell out of those free sunglasses.
I've got the Costa Del Mar Blackfin Polarized BL10 OGP shade for $106. It is slashed down from $213 to $160. I like these shades. They're nice.
The Swarm,
nicer than your crappy $10 shades.
No, they're not.
Last season gave away sunglasses that had a bottle opener.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
redneck.
I may have ganked about 10 pairs of those that should have been for the fans.
Did you just say ganked?
I did.
Yeah.
Ganked.
He went old school
1991.
NWA.
Yeah.
What are you, Ice Cube or Eazy-E writing rap lyrics? Who are you?
I told you guys I'm from the mean streets of Smyrna.
Not ganked.
So, Rick,
I love it. I think it's a great word, but I've never heard you say that.
So you said
you just got a lot of street cred from that, bro.
The most you will spend is $150.
That's it.
So if you see like a pair,
I'd go to $160 for these Costa Del Mars. They're pretty sweet.
Preacher Man, what is the most you would spend?
The ones I own now is I paid $150 for. I only wear Oakley, so I'm bougie that way.
Only Oak. So if Under Armour comes with a fresh pair of sunglasses, you're not going to get in on that.
Maybe, just depends.
Oh, there's no maybe. You're not turning your back on Under Armour.
Tell them it's case by case.
It's back in Nashville, when I worked at the golf course, we had discounts on everything. So that's where I got hooked on Oakleys, because I would get a 40% discount on sunglasses.
Do you still get that discount? Yes, you can, because 40% off $150 is still more than I want to spend.
That's a you problem, not a me problem.
So what are the percentages again on the Vision Computer Twitter poll?
There's
Mark Owens,
a lot of uppity folks like y'all.
the president of the Midday Show with Rick and John.
46% of y'all spend the money.
Yeah.
Just suck it up and spend the money.
Look, you get what you pay for.
32%. But see, I've had two pairs of cheap sunglasses that have stuck with me for over 3 years now.
I have at least 8 pairs of those 92.9 The Game glasses. So
I have one pair. And John will have like multiple pairs.
Yeah.
John
I just
will
grabbed a
autograph
bag
those,
of them.
and he'll sign them and sell them to you for $4 a piece.
Only if I'm in the Mets locker
This is a
room.
reason. Millennial Emily, our intern, this is why I don't want to spend a ton of money on sunglasses. Tell them what happened to your $150 sunglasses.
Oh my gosh. Wearing my nice $150 sunglasses, and boy just thinks he can flirt with me and push me in the lake, and whoop, there they go, down, sinking in a river in Mississippi.
Now, what did you say to said flirter after ruining your $150 shades?
We were with parents at the time, so I just got back on the boat nicely and
Hold on.
kept it quiet.
So he was shooting his shot
Oh, it's not
at
wrong
you
with that.
with parents on the boat?
That's
were your parents on the boat?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, they were like chaperones?
No, not chaperones, but we just were
What,
on
is
the
she 12?
lake.
Yeah. It's the seventh
we were
grade
just on
dance.
the lake with her parents, so they were driving
It's
the
a
boat.
sock hop.
Were you kind of thinking that the dude had it going on, and were you maybe going to give him the digits? Like, was it heading in the right direction before he threw you off a damn boat?
No, honestly, he lost it there.
Or did you did you already shoot him down, and that was his way of saying, the heck with you, you're shooting me down, you're going in the water. I think that's what happened.
No, honestly, if that's how he was thinking it, but I still want that 150 back.
Yeah, I would too. John, you and me right there. Man, we interrogated her like Crockett in Tubbs back in the day. That was awesome. Like, there's cops around town saying, you all got skills.
There's some dude in Mississippi. I went noodling for a catfish, came up with a $150 pair of sunglasses.
All right.
What the hell kind of river is this?
Some good messages coming in. I got to read some of this. WTH, are y'all from Boston? I guess y'all vacation in Costa Rica. I guess the glasses are Costa.
Wait, isn't one of us going to Costa Rica on the show?
I think one of us has Costa Rica. Did you get Costa Rica in the World Cup?
No, I got Saudi Arabia, who lost 5-0.
You're off to a great start.
I already knew I was losing. You guys set it up for me to lose. Another guy said, I have glasses on my face right now that I bought at the gas station 10 years ago, and they're working great.
Wow.
Another guy said, sorry, fellas, I'm going to Dollar Tree to get my shades, get plenty of compliments from them. Somebody else says, I have 10 pairs of Oakleys in a glass case in my closet. I've been collecting them for years. Are those collectible? Like, Mark,
ask the preacher man. He's the Oakley sunglass guy. I know nothing about that.
The Oakley Museum shut down back in 1987.
What a shame.
Here's one more. Literally, I only wear Burberry, Ray-Ban, and Versace glasses.
All right, now you want to talk bougie? Whoever sent in that text.
Burberry and Versace. What do you do for work?
Burberry.
And are y'all hiring?
No, you can't say Burberry. You got to say Burberry.
I didn't mean to listen to y'all, but I took my Mercedes in to get work done, and the loaner they gave me had you on.
Then we get this one. Y'all have lost y'all damn mind spending so much on sunglasses. That's for these rich folks over here. Me and Mark over here in the working class section. I need my $8 glasses.
Are you just going to take that, preacher man?
Doug, he can spend whatever crap he wants because we all know who makes more money on the show, him, not me.
Your wife makes more than all of us. So we know who makes the most, other than Rick.
Like intern Emily.
Yeah, I was gonna say, she loses $150 sunglasses and get backs on the family boat and nobody cares. So we know what you're working with as well. We take a break, we come back, we'll try to put a nice bow on this here show today on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
The Game is everywhere. So call us at 404-741-0929.
WCGC Atlanta and WZGC HD1.
An Intercom communication station.
Atlanta Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
I think it moved. Moved? It may have moved. I don't know.
I'm sure it didn't move.
It moved. It was imperceptible, but I felt it.
And that was the story that John Michaels told yesterday about his massage appointment. He kind of got duped, went to the wrong place. But anyway, the massage thing caused those of us who really get it to go back in time to one of the great TV bits of all time, on one of the great TV shows of all time, Seinfeld, in the Costanza bit about It Moved. Carl Dukes, Mike Bell, are you guys Seinfeld fans or not? Carl's shaking his head. Mike Bell, Seinfeld fan?
Well, no, listen, here's the deal. It's one of the all-time great shows. The problem is it's been off for almost 2 decades now. People don't realize that. So when people make Seinfeld references, it makes me laugh. It's like me talking about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Great show, by the way.
Of course it was. But yes, I respect what Seinfeld was.
Did you enjoy the It Moved bit?
That was funny.
That's funny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So John had a massage yesterday and went to the wrong place. I don't think it was one of those one of those places.
You were on Buford Highway, Joe?
No, I was not on Buford
I don't think it was
Highway.
one of those places. I think it was legit. And I told John, and I don't know this, I just heard this, but when you go to a massage place and they charge you after the massage, that's a legit massage place.
Okay.
When I've heard when you go to a massage place and they make you pay before the massage, that one tends to not be so
Well,
legit.
the expert on that doesn't work here anymore, so we don't have a reference point.
Who was that?
I'm not saying.
Next question.
You should
They're
pay for
struggling.
services rendered until after those services have been rendered.
So here's the good thing. Regardless, I still got a great massage yesterday, and now I still have set up for another massage that was already paid for. I just had to pay for the one yesterday. I wasn't really expecting to pay money.
Did it move?
It did not. It did not.
It's been that kind of 1 o'clock hour, Carl Dukes.
Yeah.
It's been that kind of 1 o'clock hour.
My wife just looks at me and goes, "You're an idiot." And I go, "Yeah, you married me. So what does that say about you?"
She chose a good one.
I was expecting shade there, and you gave it.
Is that a good one? As if you're trying to hook somebody up with a girl, and you go, "She has a nice personality." Is that what kind of good one she chose?
No, listen, I've seen the twinkle in your wife's eyes for you. I know what this is about. I get it.
That was Tito's.
Carl Dukes is gushing. I mean, this is effusive love.
Have you seen these two together?
Yeah, I partied with them, and they're great.
Yeah,
I see that little twinkle in her eye too,
plus,
because it's all about the orange and green.
I've heard that she can get upset, so I'm not going to make her mad on the radio.
You've heard correct.
Yeah. Hey, man, we got a lot to get into. Mike is right now involved in a serious tweet. What are you tweeting, Mike Bell?
Since Julio fans get all in their feelings about everything, just facts, and we'll leave it at that. That'll be the last Julio tweet till I go on vacay, because I got better things to get upset about. Which Falcons receiver had just 6 catches in the red zone last season?
Julio on 22 targets.
Correct.
For 1 touchdown.
Is that somebody who deserves a raise? Is that somebody who should be taking about a third of your salary cap? No.
Well, we're going to get into that because the Falcons today, ironically, their last mini camp practice, the last couple of days, guys, they've been working on red zone. Obviously, we know who's not there. So who is the red zone guy? We'll get into that.
Eric Saubert.
We're going to talk about the U.S. Open, the big win last night with our Atlanta United.
Yes.
The World Cup has started. We got a lot in store, so stick around.
Yeah, and by the way, you guys stuck me with Saudi Arabia in this stupid World Cup
Saudi
draw.
Arabia.
They lost 5-0.
I think it was 10-0.
It could have been 10-0. They had guys that were this tall. They're like 4'8". I got to leave now. See ya.
You know how everything seems like a good idea after you've had a few? Yeah, that's this show.
Riding in my car, and I'm listening to the radio.
It's time for Dukes and Bell.
Oh, someone told me it's the Black Beverly Hills. Is that true?
Driving in Atlanta just got a whole lot more bearable.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Hi, everybody. Carl Dukes and Mike Bell. The names that mean goodness.
Say my name, you know who I am.
Carl Dukes.
I drink and I know things.
Oh, don't question my authority thing. King Kong ain't got on me.
Sometimes you just got to call somebody, and I'm not ashamed to say it. You know,
And Mike Bell.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
Hope you guess my name.
Bring a pitcher of beer every 7 minutes till somebody passes out. And then bring one every 10 minutes, right?
Get ready for the best 5 hours of your life.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Don't believe me, just watch.
This is Dukes and Bell.
You know what? Why don't we start doing the stuff that other guys have done on other radio shows around the country?
No.
On Sports Radio 92.9, The Game.
Atlanta, what's going on? It is Dukes and Bell on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. We start off every day and every hour by saying, hey, man, tomorrow we'll be at Oconee Brewery. We will reveal the name of our new beer, which will be released very soon. But tomorrow you'll have a chance to taste it. If you come out to Oconee Brewery, guys, we'll be out there from 2 to 7. And I had some guys hit me up and say, hey, I know, you guys are going to be out there. I want to make the trip. Hey, come on out, man. We are going to do a big release party down the road. But right now, it's just about getting the name, as we said. And once that's done, then they'll start doing the cans, and the process will continue. But we needed a name, and so over the last couple of weeks, I've been asking you guys to go to the website at 929thegame.com/name our beer. And so many guys have submitted entries, so we appreciate all of that. But we have come down to the final few names that we like. We will reveal that tomorrow, so make sure you're tuning in. And also, make sure if you get a chance to come out there, man, maybe you live in the area, Greensboro, even if you don't, maybe you have the day off, come hang out with us. We'd love to see you out there.
Yeah, man. So it's been a process. We've obviously signed off on the flavor and the alcohol content at 5% alcohol by volume. Can't wait. And I think the boss is on vacay, I believe.
Hold on. Where's my bell?
Hey.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, so Star-Lord, no Star-Lord tomorrow. So let's get it on like Donkey Kong. Let's drink early and often from 2 to 7. And, of course, Uber home or just pass out. But looking forward to being out there at Oconee. And I know you guys, a lot of people, we're excited because I know when we have this guy's like, really a beer? And then yesterday out at Flowery Branch, a lot of guys like, when do I get it? Where do I get it?
Yeah.
And more importantly, do you guys get paid? And I don't think we do. But the point is, Carl, we're excited. We're excited about the beer. We really didn't think that. Truth be told, we really didn't think that through as far as our cut of the action. But maybe the next deal.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, man, we got a lot to get to. A big win for Atlanta United last night. Brad Guzan, he's big. He's bald.
He's a ball.
He was great last night. Great passing. We got a big turnover, which turned into a goal late. I just think, Mike, we've been saying this all season long, and now you start to look, and all of a sudden, the season it's a lot less games on the schedule than there were a month or so ago, and you start going, okay, this team has a real shot because that was a good team we beat last night, and they hadn't lost, in a long time. I think that's the first defeat in their last 9 matches.
Right.
Columbus is really good, and we went on the road, and again, we're able to handle them.
And the thing last night, I think a lot of United fans rediscovered all the many fans were asking and clamoring for when he's going to get back out there, and that is Tito Villalba, because he's been banged up. But to see him out there, and if you didn't see it, and we'll talk about it with Jason Longshore, who, by the way, did a fantastic job on television with Darren Egan, our favorite Irishman, doing the call on FS1. It was great to hear Jason, and we'll get him in studio to talk about last night. But how about Miggy? You got our man Romario Williams from Jamaica on the one side, and then trailing is Tito. And there's just, defenders don't know which way to leap. Boom, we get the goal, put him away 2-zip. Thing of beauty.
It was, and I will tell you, the Joseph Martinez goal was beautiful as well. I mean, for him to go up and hit that with his head in the process.
And get hit in the head.
Yeah, he broke his nose, but that was a hell of a goal, too, for Joseph, man. 14 on the season. I just feel really good about our chances, moving forward. Remember, guys, too, this was the team that beat us last year at home at Mercedes-Benz. So we'll talk to Jason Longshore. Yes, we will get into his suit game, because that was the most impressive thing for me last night. Is at the end of the game, I was like, really? You got the hat to match the tie and the suit?
Yeah, he had a red shirt, black tie, black suit, and he had the tam o' shanter. Now, for those who are not familiar with the haberdashery, that's the classic Irish or the Andy Cap hat, which popularized back in the day. But, he still rocks that, and he was in form last night. It was really cool to see him. And meanwhile, hats off to Mike Conti, who was a solo act on the radio last night.
It's hard to do a game like that by yourself. Conti did a really good job. He is off today, as a matter of fact, but we'll get more on the game last night. Obviously, Falcons today wrapping up things, guys, up at Flowery Branch. Thanks to everybody who came out yesterday, stopped by, said, what up? Hey, man, put them up. However you addressed us, we appreciate all the support. But, Mike, now they don't get back onto the field until training camp. And one of the things we're going to get into, Dan Quinn talking about they have been working on, at least yesterday and today, the 2-minute end-of-the-game scenario. Philadelphia.
Right.
Where you got to go get a touchdown. Now, we came up short in that situation. Today, they worked a little bit more on red zone offense. It's no secret. And I think as we get into training camp and you get into the season, there are going to be more time and periods. And when I say periods, that's how practices are broken up in football, how much time you spend at each station, or how you're, navigating your practice, whether it's offense, defense, special teams. There's going to be more time spent on this. Mm-hmm. And the reason is simple. It's the number one thing we have to get better at. Ricardo Allen joined us yesterday, safety for our Falcons, and said, we got to turn guys over more. We got to turn teams over. He's right. But we got to score in the red zone. And last year, for whatever reason, we got bogged down. So one of the things we'll get into today, because we know who's not there, we will talk about who is and who is the guy that you go to, because ironically, the numbers will tell you something surprising, I think, once we get into this conversation a little bit later on. So we'll talk about that. Also, as you mentioned, man, we were out in the bullpen. U.S. Open. And this course is already killing guys.
Yeah, I was telling Carl, man, my first radio job was out in the Hamptons, Lifestyles of the Rich and Shameless, but I was like a bartender DJ, so I never was ever have a shot on getting any of those courses out there. I wish I played golf back then. It's like, you didn't even think about golf until like Tiger came on the scene. But anyway, watching it, and it's a combination of like links golf. It's a links course with a lot of hills, a lot of blind shots. The wind today is really ripping, and man, guys were struggling. Our man, Matt Kuchar, Georgia Tech was 2 under at one point, and then you saw a guy who's just looking so mortal, and a guy who's really struggling with the putter, man, Jordan Spieth. I might as well have a slinky in his hand. He looks like you and me out there. But so a lot of guys struggling. A man named Scott Piercy, who's a 39-year-old. He's won 4 times on tour. He had the low round today, and or he's tied, I should say, with Ian Poulter. He's the guy who wears all the funky clothes from England. Those guys are at 1 under. Tiger is in the middle of, I guess, the second hole, and he's paired with 2 previous U.S. Open winners, including Dustin Thomas.
Remember, as you watch
Dustin Johnson, Jordan Thomas.
As you watch this play out, Mike.
Whoa, check that out. Tiger triple bogeyed one.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
All right, well, there goes my afternoon.
Well,
back to you.
Here's the deal, though. If you are going to watch this as I am over the weekend and pay attention to it, even par, you're all right. I mean, this is one of those courses and one of those tournaments that, as far as majors, we all know this is the toughest course, man. And they specifically lay it out as such. And, this is a course that changed since the last time they were there. But if you're watching, you're looking at the scores and wondering what's going on. Even par is your friend.
But U.S. Open, for you guys who follow, it varies. In years past, we've seen some low scores in some of the majors. The U.S. Open is always a torture chamber. These guys, they don't want to see a 10 under, a 12 under. And so this is what you get. And you and I have always debated this, and some guys love to see golfers look as bad as we do. I watch golf. I want to see excellence. I don't want to see guys looking like me out there, but this is what you're going to get this weekend, especially if the winds kick up, because those greens are going to get even faster.
We will keep you updated on the leaderboard, guys, as we go along this afternoon. Also, plenty of college football news to report as well. And I think, Mike, the big news, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but the new red shirt rule for colleges and college football programs, which allows players to participate in up to 4 games and keep their eligibility. This used to be a big deal. And coaches, we've talked about expanding rosters in the NFL and maybe adding more scholarships for, Division I schools. This is a way that's going to help a lot of college programs.
But even bigger than that is the rule that, again, we didn't really touch much on it yesterday because we were focused on the Falcons out at Flowery Branch, is now kids can go anywhere they want. Now, they don't have to worry about the coach signing off. They don't have to worry about the school or the conference. Now, this could, some say, it can create a free-for-all, and kids are still going to have to sit out a year of eligibility, Carl, when they transfer from one program in Division I to another.
Yeah.
But the idea now that guys can transfer out, don't have to worry about the conference giving the okay, or Nick Saban not allowing him to go to Tennessee, or whoever that coach may be. And it's going to be very interesting to see how kids handle it, especially nowadays when we see so many kids transfer at quarterback. All the big 4 and the 5A stars, Carl. How are those guys going to handle something like that? Maybe they face a little adversity to a program and they're going to bolt after year 1.
It's a win for players' rights. I don't think this is going to be the new free agency because, as you said, you're not allowing players with eligibility to immediately leave. Graduate transfers are different. Now, we know that because of spring meetings in the SEC down in Destin. If I'm a graduate transfer, Mike, and we said this, I finished my school, I should be able to go wherever I want. You shouldn't have to block me.
Right.
And I got 1 year left to go play wherever I want. If I'm a incoming freshman, and Georgia recruits me, and now I'm not going to get a chance to play because I got Justin Fields in front of me, and then I want to transfer. If I want to go to Tennessee or Florida, that's fine. But I still have to sit out a year. So you're not going to see this influx of guys going to various schools because of this rule. But I do think for player advocates and people who think that players should have the right to do this is a win. And I'm one of those guys. I don't think there's anything wrong if you've been recruited by Auburn, you made the decision to go to Alabama, and Alabama's not the place for you. Why can't you go to Auburn?
But I know our coach is going to push back on this because you get your butt kissed as that 5-star recruit, right? For about a year and a half in some cases.
Sure.
You got 9th graders being offered scholarships these days. Then you get there. And that coach who was smiling is now yelling at you. You know what I mean? That position coach who was loving you up for a year is now on your butt. So I'm just curious to see how, especially when you've got some of those helicopter parents involved, just how many more guys will be moving around. I'm not saying it's going to be the end of the world. I think it's good for the players, as we've always said, because the coach can split on a whim. And the player's sitting there, and he was recruited by that coach. He's just sitting there going, hey, what about me? But this is going to be very interesting to see how this sort of changes some of the landscape of college football.
We always want to hear from you guys at 404-741-0929. It's our Solomon Brothers Diamond text line. We are live inside of the Kia studios today. For more info, visit KiaDealers.com. And, of course, follow us across all social media platforms, guys. Like us on Facebook. Also, follow us on the Twitter. He is Mike Bell, ATL. I'm at Put 'em Up, C Dukes, and follow the radio show at Dukes and Bell 929. We're going to come back. We're going to hit some headlines. Grant McCauley is going to join us at 2:40. We'll talk some Braves with him and get his thoughts as the Braves continue to look good. San Diego's up next. And also tomorrow, guys, make sure you tune in at 3:20 as Agent Pat Dye is going to join us tomorrow to talk about not only this Julio situation, but also we'll get his thoughts on some of this other stuff that's going down in the NFL that is affecting contracts. And for the agents, they have obviously one viewpoint, but they understand that the business side of it for the teams is something they've got to deal with. And for Julio, Pat Dye has been lucky enough to go through this kind of scenario with some of the players he's had. So we'll get his thoughts on that and also what he thinks about some of the other things that are going on in the NFL. 3:20 tomorrow.
Yeah, Pat Dye Jr. representing Calvin Ridley, amongst others. So we'll get his take. And also, guys, more around the NFL. A lot of little storylines. We're not the only team that's got a little drama as we get into that off. Sort of like the mini camp, and then we have a few weeks off. And as we heard from Ricardo Allen, he'll still be in many other players, Carl. The work continues throughout the summer. But Matt Ryan, that throwing camp, some people saying, well, that's cool. Matt's going to spend some time with Julio. Is Julio going to be there in South Florida?
Listen, I had a guy today tell me that he'll be at camp. Okay, I'm glad you're guaranteeing things.
Well, that's, maybe you can give me some tips on the stock market since you know how to read the future.
But, Mike, I think he will because that's not business. That's friends and teammates. I think that's a little different. I think he probably shows up. But when you talk about the business aspect of getting a new deal or an updated contract, I don't know if he'll be there at camp. And when I say that, guys, I'm not saying he misses the entire camp. But I don't know if there's anybody right now willing to bet me a C-note that Julio's there day one. What if he shows up day 4? I don't know. So I'm not going to tell you he'll be there until we find out how this thing's going to be handled. It's Dukes and Bell, man. We'll come back. We'll hit some headlines next on 92.9 The Game.
I'm Amy Lawrence with the CBS Sports Minute. It's possible more Americans are talking about the World Cup in 2026 than the one starting today in Moscow. I'm thrilled the Cup will return to U.S. soil in 8 years. We won the right to host the world's greatest sporting event in a joint bid with Canada and Mexico. First time for the U.S. since 1994. First time ever for our friends to the north. Expect a major boost to the economy. The winning bid promised $11 billion in profits for FIFA. And it's all great, except any mention of the World Cup in any capacity makes me cringe. It still stings that the U.S. messed around and missed out on Moscow. What does it say about our national team that Iceland qualified, but we didn't? But hey, host nations usually receive automatic bids to the World Cup, so in 2026, we're almost guaranteed to make it. I'm Amy Lawrence.
And now, Sports Radio 92.9 The Game, Haviland Express Loop Sports Flash. For specials and more, go to HavilandSportsFlash.com.
I'm Jared Smith. The Sports Flash brought to you by Indeed. Starting in soccer, Atlanta United became the first team in MLS to reach 10 wins after they picked up a 2-0 victory over the Columbus Crew Wednesday night. Justin Martinez stretched out his lead in the Golden Boot race with his 14th goal of the season before leaving at halftime with a facial injury. Tito Vajava returned from injury of his own to put the game on ice with a goal in the 82nd minute. The Five Stripes have a week off now before they face the Chicago Fire in the U.S. Open Cup next Wednesday night. Meanwhile, World Cup got underway this morning with host country Russia putting it to Saudi Arabia in a 5-0 defeat in the first match. Moving over to baseball, Braves are preparing for a 4-game series with the San Diego Padres Thursday after sweeping an abbreviated series of the New York Mets earlier in the week. Mike Soroka took a no-hitter into the 7th inning on his way to his second win of the season and said the fast pace of the game helped him stay in a groove.
We were getting in and out so quickly that we never really had time to think about it. I think first time I even thought about what was going on was going out for the 6th. And even at that, it was happening so quickly. So, you get into a rhythm that way, and that wasn't bad as well.
Anibal Sanchez takes the ball for Atlanta tonight. First pitch set for 7:35. Are you hiring with Indeed? You can post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates in an online dashboard. Get started at Indeed.com/hire. Keeping you up to date on Atlanta sports as it happens, I'm Jarrett Smith from the Kia Studios on your home of Wednesday's Atlanta United match against Chicago. Kickoff at 7:30, Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
Atlanta Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Get your sports fix anywhere on demand. Beyond live streaming. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
What does that mean?
And if you don't know how to use those,
I'll tell you what. I'll switch it to communications.
ask your kids. The Game is everywhere. Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
Day 3 of minicamp comes to a close. We will hear from Dan Quinn and company coming up a little bit later on the program. It is Dukes and Bell. I want to hear from you guys as well at 404-741-0929. It's funny because, even with the Julio conversation yesterday, like you had the kids and people showing up with signs, and we appreciate that. Mm-hmm. That just screams that you guys listen and you're paying attention to what's going on and that you agree with Dukes and Bell in many cases. But people are still, Mike, as you said, in their feelings bag about this from the standpoint of believing that Julio should be one of the top paid guys. And so that's why I said we're going to get into this discussion about, what this is really about from the red zone standpoint, because that's what this gets down to. If Julio had the numbers, let's just say, of Antonio Brown, and I didn't appreciate what Antonio Brown said yesterday. He sounded like a jerk.
He sounded like, when you think of the quintessential diva wide receiver, which they tend to be the more diva-ish of the NFL positions, but the stuff that we were talking about yesterday, I got a bunch of guys hit us up on Twitter going, I can't believe that. I can't believe a Pittsburgh Steeler would say that, let alone a guy that plays for Coach Mike Tomlin. I was saying to myself, I'm like, is this Antonio Brown speaking, or is this a figure skater or Ed Whitson, the former Yankee? And for those who don't remember, for you millennials, Ed Whitson was a former pitcher, had success in the NL, gets signed by Steinbrenner in those lean years between World Series, and absolutely, completely folded under the pressure of playing in New York City.
Clown show.
Just could not handle it. He had good numbers, and his career was never the same. So, we think of NFL guys as being mentally tough. And then you hear this Antonio Brown thing. I'm like, what is this, a therapy session?
Right. I can't do anything. I can't go anywhere. My wife and kids.
And then he's sort of like, I'm not free. Now, hold on. Now, let's not. You're using that and using that phrase? All right, time out. Because the Rooney family is the greatest family to work for in the NFL. They take care of their people. I mean, and even Antonio Brown, they've reworked his contract. Now, Le'Veon Bell's a different set of circumstances because he's one puff pass away from a suspension. So it's not a cut and dry deal on his new contract. Yeah, but I mean, but that blew me away when we played that soundbite. It blew away a lot of people around the country from what I saw.
But as we said yesterday, that's not Julio. We've never heard Julio say anything like that. I don't think we ever will. He's not that guy. But I know a lot of people feel like because of this situation, there is a diva thing to it, right? That this is uncharacteristic. You know, people get out uncharacteristic when you've got money involved. All right. I mean, you do uncharacteristic things when you have money involved. But my point to get back to the red zone thing is, and I'm going to give this number and we'll get into this a little bit later on. Antonio Brown was thrown the ball, 23 times in the red zone last year. He caught 13 of those balls. That's 56%. That's over half of the balls, right? And had 6 touchdowns. Julio had 1 touchdown and was thrown to 22 times. So 1 less than Antonio Brown. He caught 6 of those balls. That's 27% and 1 touchdown. Guys, the numbers don't lie, right? That's fact. That's not me and Mike sitting here going, ooh. So again, when we talk about the Falcons and the idea of updating a contract, how do you justify that? How do you say, well, wait a minute, the targets were there. You got as many passes as the elite guys in this league, but the production necessarily wasn't.
And that's the thing, guys. I think when we speak about it, I've said this before. You guys, we put it in the microphone, goes through the transmitter, comes out your car radio. Julio's a bum. No one's saying that. All I've ever said about this was, and it's purely economics, if you can't make the 2 biggest stars on your team work, make your 2 biggest stars connect in the part of the field that is the most important, the area that cost us home field last year, scoring points, then what's the point? It's not a knock on Julio. Hey, I don't begrudge Julio making more money, just maybe he needs to do it somewhere else where they know how to use him. Because that's been my argument from the jump. It's not about Julio. It's about Matt Ryan. It's about Steve Sarkisian. It's about Dan Quinn. It's about the plan. You know, it's about, and also Julio did drop some passes last year. That's also part of it. But it's not purely about Julio. If you can't make it work, why would you put let's just say for argument's sake, you get a restructured deal, you'd have over $150 million in guaranteed money that produced 2 touchdowns in the regular season.
I think that's why working not only today, but yesterday at minicamp, and this gets back to, close your ears, him not being there. Working about and being about the red zone, that's why it's important. This is why, and you're going to say, well, 3 days don't matter. Okay, well, then again, let's cancel practice. I'm tired of hearing why it's not important. The deal is, when you're working on these things, you want your elite players there. Now, believe it or not, and Bo told me this, and I was like, really? So we went and looked at the numbers, and again, the numbers don't lie. Sanu is great in the red zone. And we'll lay this out for you guys. Sanu is great in the red zone. I think he is also underutilized in that area for the numbers he's put up. But a guy that's got to step his red zone game up is Austin Hooper as well. We got a tight end we picked in the 3rd round, Mike, that's supposed to be the guy for the next 8 to 10 years. He's got to be better in the red zone.
And that's why this year is a real make or break year, especially in the minds of Falcon fans like me that said, man, look at all these great tight ends coming out of this draft. Man, we could really, get some impactful guys, and we're waiting to see Austin Hooper. Look, he had good yardage, decent yardage for a tight end, but he's got to get the touchdowns, man. I don't know what other measurable there is, because if it's not Julio, somebody on this team has got to score a touchdown. And if you want to make Julio the highest paid decoy in the league, so be it. Then Sanu needs more. But we got to get more touchdowns out of somewhere, and that's why we were frustrated about not everybody being there to put the work in to make this offense more productive.
Now, I will say this, and then we'll get to some headlines. The numbers bear out from 2014, 2015, 2016, and even last year. He's never really, and this is a function that nobody wants to admit, dude does get double teamed. He does see coverages specifically for him. But he's never really been that option down there. Yeah. This is not just a Sark deal. He's never really been, we get inside the 5 or the 10-yard line, we're going to our playmaker. He hadn't been that guy.
We tried it, and again, Matt, don't get this twisted. Matt sometimes doesn't make really good throws. We've never been able to throw a back shoulder fade. We've had a real struggle at times with that. It's something that's just for some reason never been in the repertoire of Matt and Julio, which drives everybody crazy. I mean, including all the Julio fans that are listening. So there's a lot of variables in the equation. I don't care how they fix it, but they got to fix it. And that's all we ever said this week about minicamp or going back to OTAs. Wouldn't you rather have everybody who's part of the problem working on the fix?
Hey, Craig, behind the glass, he is our engineer. Bo Morgan producing. It's Dukes and Bell. Let's hit some headlines.
Strap in, youngins. In the headlines Sports with Dukes and Bell.
All right, let's hear from our man, our goalie, Brad Guzan. And the biggest reason for the road success this season, because, guys, you look at the road success for Atlanta United this year versus last year, it's vastly different.
I think mentality in terms of how we approach games, our ability to be a mature team. I don't think it was until maybe the 8th minute or 9th minute until they touched the ball. We had a fantastic period in the first half where we kept the ball moving, 1-2 touches, made them shift, made them defend. Obviously, they weren't pressing as high, and we weren't causing them any problems. It's how you get points on the road in MLS.
Now, one thing for certain, and Craig is back behind the glass after another vacation, but he's a big soccer.
Did he pay for this one?
I'm not sure. If he had a woman to pay for it again, he's got game. But one thing last night, and Craig, you want to jump in on this one, it's Josie, how do you pronounce Zardes' first name from the U.S. men's national team?
I can never pronounce that kid's name.
No, anyway,
Yeah.
Josie Zardes, he's the guy who looks like Wesley Snipes Carl in Demolition Man, with the big yellow, the blonde thing. This kid is the quintessential U.S. men's national team.
He gets all the buzz, and sometimes the big games, kid never shows up.
Yeah, I mean, on the doorstep 3 or 4 times and gacked every single opportunity. And Brad also had something to say with that. And our defense, Carl, playing with a bunch of yellow cards. So Parkhurst, Escobar, those guys had to really mind their P's and Q's by making really good form tackles. But that said, Columbus missed some golden opportunities. We also did something on offense. It was beautiful, man. Those 2 scoring plays were fantastic.
They really were. We had more. They had more shots on goal. We'll talk to our man Jason Longshore coming up at 3:20. Longshoe at Longshoe on the Twitter. Get at him, man. And he did a really good job, as we said on television.